Hi, I'm Sandi Genovese, and today we're going to make an accordion file. Now, this is the one we're going to make, and I'm going to show it to you in more detail. But my reasoning for making it was how often I found fun accordion files at Staples and Office Depot and the Container Store, and the band has gotten overstretched and doesn't work anymore. And even though inside it's really handy to have all these accordion pleats, if I want to use it to store photos, or if I want to use it to store my scrapbook supplies that are going to eventually go in my scrapbooks, then I need for all the parts to be archivally safe. If you make it yourself, you can ensure that that's the case. So that's why we're going to make one today. Here's the one that I made, and I'm holding mine closed, believe it or not, with a hairband. This is just from the hair section of Target, any drugstore. They all carry batches. In fact, here in this package, there were all of these, and this is just the one that I happen to use. And if I lay this down, you'll see that it's almost the same width. If you don't have to stretch it very much, it's going to last a really long time. It's when it's really overstretched that it wears out quickly. So that will hold the accordion file shut. You can see that I've just decorated the outside with die cuts and embellishments. I'll show you how to do that. And then inside, I have 5 little pockets. You can create more. Once you see how to make it, you can see that you could add, every one of these could be doubled, and there could be 10 pleats in this, and then you could make your accordion sides longer to accommodate even more if you want to make it bigger still. The bottom is just chipboard, and the width of this is going to be based on how much you want to put inside, how fat you want to make it. But I'll give you the dimensions of mine in case you want to replicate it to start with. To begin with, I want to look at the front and back cover. And I want to use something sturdy like chipboard, but you need to be sure that you cover it in paper that's acid-free. So you need 2 of them, a front and a back cover, and it's 6 by 9, and I'm going to put adhesive. And I know I say this, so many times, you're sick of hearing it, but you want a lot more adhesive than this. This is the time I think I would run this through my Xyron machine to get really nice, solid adhesive. But that will be enough to hold it together for this project. So I'm going to take my paper and I'll place the chipboard. I should have picked a different color so it would show up a little better, but so it's roughly in the center. And your paper just needs to be enough that you have, a good 1.5 inches at least around the edges, maybe even 2 inches. And then what you're going to do is basically, it's like you're wrapping a gift. So I'm going to put adhesive on what will be this flap. Remember, you're going to do more adhesive. And I'm going to bring it over so it's tight against that chipboard. And then I'm going to repeat the exact same thing on this end. You can practice your wrapping skills for the next time you have to wrap a present. So once again, pull this in so it's tight against the chipboard. And now this ends, it's going to just, like I said, just be like wrapping a gift. So I'm going to make a tiny gap. I don't want it too close to the chipboard. I have maybe a 1/16 of an inch that I'm going to fold in these corners just to allow for the thickness of this paper. So I'll put adhesive on that and inside here, and then I'm going to fold to get my fold line and open it back up and put my adhesive on the inside so that I end up just having what looks like a wrapped package. Do the identical thing on the other end. So as I fold in the final flap, you can see I don't have to worry about this because it's going to be covered, but the outside is going to be either the front or the back cover. I've already gone ahead and I've done a second one, so I have 2. Now, what I did was I wanted to use supplies that were inexpensive. I'm going to put a black band at the bottom, and I'm just going to use my white correction tape to create stripes. And I want to make sure that I come down into the area that the black will cover. So for the first one, I'm going to use this sort of as my guide and just create the stripe pattern. And I'm not going to bother to do the whole thing, but you can see it's quick and it's easy. You're going to go ahead, and I do like to go back and kind of press down and make sure everything is stuck. You would continue doing stripes on the whole thing, and then add adhesive to the black section. More than that, more than I did, in order to get what will be the bottom. You're going to do that. This is what would be the front. I won't even bother to stop to decorate it, but you would do the same thing on the back so that you end up with the beginnings. And then if you look at the table, you can see I just hand cut them, but die cuts would work great in order to create the flower embellishment, and I added strips of other colors, all very simple for you to do, and as whatever details you want in the back as well. But I want to get to the insides because that's crucial. You have to know how to do that in order to put it together. So you want to start with paper, and this needs to be 5.5 inches wide by 12 inches long. And I used my Stampin' Up! Scoring tool, which I love, and I used it to score. So if I set this, actually I set it this way, and with the scoring tool, what I did is I came in every 3/4 inches and did a score. So the scoring tool, if you haven't seen me, I'm not going to stop to use it now because of the time it takes, but the channels are there, and all you do is set this in and then just go zoot, zoot, zoot. It's so quick and so easy. It's just, I've done it so many times, I can't imagine that you want to see me do it again. So whatever scoring tool is handy for you, score every 3/4 inches, the whole sheet. You need to do this twice. You're going to need one for this side and one for this side of your accordion file. Then you want to accordion fold, and I find that it's easiest to get it fairly straight if I start in the middle. That way I can make sure that my first fold is nice and straight. Even though I'm using my creases, I'm also making sure that my sides are straight. And then from here, I'm just going to lightly, using the creases that I made with the scoring tool, I'm going to lightly accordion pleat going all the way to the end. And then when I get to the end and it's straight, then crease harder, and then do the same thing going the other direction. Just finger lightly pleat. It gives you the ability, if you notice that you've scored something incorrectly, you can see it right away as you're doing this. So you end up with lots of pleats. And like I said, you need to do it twice. I've already gone ahead and done a second one. So basically, your file is going to have the front and back cover, and these are going to be on the sides. Well, you need the dividers inside. So you need to cut the dividers to go inside, and they are, I marked it on here, 5.5 inches wide by 8.5 inches long. And I think because that feels like it's kind of, I don't know if that's going to show. I'm going to just get rid of that. But you need to cut, let me open this up. I don't remember how many of those interior pleats there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So cut 6 of these. And what you're going to do is take your accordion pleated paper, and you want to start with the first fold as a valley fold. That's how you know how to orient it. And you're going to place adhesive on what would be the first tab. So on the first tab up to the fold line, and I've lightly marked this with pencil so you can see, I'm going to skip 2, and then I'm going to put more adhesive. I'm going to skip 2 and put more adhesive. So every place that there's an X, I'm going to put adhesive. Skip 2, adhesive. Skip 2, adhesive. Skip 2. So every third section, skip 2, and I end up with the final accordion pleat. And I have to turn this way. Now, what you're going to do is take your inside dividers. I'm not going to stick this down, and I'll show you why in a minute, but you're going to attach this against that pleat and against the fold line. You're going to take the next one and attach it to that pleat. Now the reason that I'm not doing that is just to save time. I've gone ahead and I've already attached the first 5 dividers into those pleats. So what I'm going to do is place my adhesive in this final pleat, because I don't have adhesive in here yet. It's hard to turn this going the other direction. I wonder if I can do, oh, it does work. And you can see that each one of these, it's easy to line it up. I'm going to place this, here's my adhesive, place this, tuck it against the fold, make sure that it lines up with the other ones that are there already, and then position it. So once you've placed all of those dividers into one of the accordion pleats, now the one that I just added adhesive to is going to go on the other side. So I'm going to start with the first one and start with my first pleat and do the same thing. I'm going to attach my divider so it tucks up against there, and then I'm going to bring in the next one, and here is my next. I'm going to fold this down, position this, bring in my paper so it lines up, and press. Bring this in so that I can align the next divider. And press. Bring in the next one. And press. And I get to the final pleat, and I'm going to place the divider so it tucks against there, bring this around and press, and you've created now all the interior that's going to sit inside your accordion folded file. Before we put them inside, we need to look at creating the base. And what I did for the base is I started with chipboard, and this is 1 1/8 inches by 8.5 inches long. So this paper is 8.5 inches long. The width really doesn't matter. It needs to be, this is going to sit right in the center, and it can be whatever's left over, because all of this is going to be obscured. All you're going to see is the bottom. How far up this comes on your accordion file doesn't really matter. So you can use a scrap that you might have left over, but you do need to score it so that it will fold along both of those edges. So remember, this was an inch and an eighth, so I have 2 score marks, and I'm going to add my adhesive to add support for this. And if you're going to use this to store photos, the chipboard is not likely to be acid-free, so be sure to put another piece of acid-free paper right over the top of this so that you don't have your photo sitting against this chipboard. So this is going to give you the base, and now you need to attach the covers. So I'll turn this over, and I'll place my adhesive right against the score line where that chipboard was. And remember, you're going to do more adhesive than this. And I'm going to bring in, I want to make sure that if this is the bottom and this is the bottom of this cover, I'm going to attach it like this. So I want it to line up with the bottom, and I want an even amount of cover on either side. And I have, you know, a little bit of extra. So I'm lining it up and pressing it down, and if I open it up, you'll see here's the chipboard bottom, here is this. I'm going to put adhesive now on this section and do the same thing with what would be the back cover. So I'll open it up, put my adhesive. You're going to have to pretend like this one is fully decorated. I can do this, or I can do the same thing I did with the other side. It's always tricky for me to do this to make sure that I do this at an angle where you can see. But okay, if I do this way, like this, here we go. So my adhesive is here, and I want to line it up with the bottom, and I want the sides of the cover also to line up. So I want the covers to match, like so, and like so. So when I press this down, now I have a front and a back cover and a base. And now it's just a question of placing adhesive, and this time, you know, I'm going to not take the time to do very much, but you're going to want to put adhesive on the edges and all along the inside as well. Like I said, I'm going to just do enough to get it to hold together. So I'm going to position this, try to do this at an angle that you can see. You can probably see better this way. So I'm tucking this right against the red. Kind of makes it easy to see what I'm doing. And I'm going to press it down, and then I'm going to put adhesive on this end and this end, and some in the center. Like I said, you're going to do a whole lot more. I'll show you how we're going to press it in a minute. I'm going to bring this so that, if you can see, it lines up. And once you have everything in position, now you can put your hand in here and you can really press. So the adhesive that you have way strong, you know, way more adhesive than I just used, is going to attach there, and do the same thing. Put your hand in here and really press down on this interior portion. Now look, you have all these cool accordion pleats inside. The beginning, you get finished decorating a front cover. If I go back to the finished one and show you, you'll see just exactly what I mean. And then if you want an easy way to hold it shut, like I said, a hairband, a headband, a stretchy headband just from the drugstore is a perfect way to do that. You know, here's the thing. If you make your own accordion file folders, you can ensure that they are archivally safe for holding even your most special photos.